morning.
Good morning. Today is Monday, May 11th, and we'll be reading 1 Samuel 18 and 19.
All right. Open it. Your crayon? Whoa, we have a thumbs up. Oh, so you're ready, right? You're ready? Are you ready? You have your space? Your place? Oh, your coloring book? You want your well, you have your Bible this time. All right, 18 and I'm sorry. Cheerful disposition. Cheerful disposition? No. Oh, they started up. Oh, we have cheerful dispositions. All right.
Alright, 18. Alright. Saul fears David. When he had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was bound to the soul of David, so that Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would not permit him to return home to his father's house. They started out once we started reading. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. So Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him and gave it to David, even his garments, his sword, his bow, and his belt. David went out wherever Saul sent him, and he was successful. So Saul set him over the men of war, and it was pleasing in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of the servants of Saul. When they came home, as David was returning from slaying the Philistine, the women came out from the cities of Israel to meet King Saul, singing and dancing with tambourines, with joy and with musical instruments. The dancing women sang and said, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Saul became very angry, and this saying was displeasing to him. Therefore he said, They have ascribed to David 10,000s, but to me they have ascribed thousands. Now what remains for him to have but the kingdom? So Saul was suspicious of David from that day and forward. It came to pass that the following day that an evil spirit from God came upon Saul, so that he raved in the midst of the house. And David was playing the lyre as at other times. Now there was a spear in Saul's hand, and Saul threw the spear, for he said, I will pin David to the wall. But David avoided him 2 times. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him, but had departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from his presence, and placed him as his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. David was successful in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. When Saul saw that he was very successful, he was afraid of him. Now all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. David marries Michal. Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, I will give her to you as your wife. Only be valiant for me, and fight the battles of the Lord. For Saul said, Let not my hand be against him, but let the hand of the Philistines be against him. But David said to Saul, Who am I, and what is my life or my father's family in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? So when it was time that Merab, daughter of Saul, should have been given to David, she was given to Adriel the Meholathite for a wife. Now Michal, daughter of Saul, loved David, and they told Saul the thing that pleased him, and Saul said, I will give her to him, that she may be a snare to him, so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Therefore Saul said to David, For a second time you may be my son-in-law today. Saul commanded his servant, saying, Speak to David in secret, saying, Listen, the king delights in you, and all your servants love you. Now therefore become the king's son-in-law. So the servants of Saul spoke these words in the ears of David, and David said, Does it seem to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed? And the servants of Saul responded to him, saying, According to these words David spoke. Saul said, Thus will you say to David, The king does not desire any dowry but 100 foreskins, of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. When his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law. Now the days had not expired, therefore David arose and went, he and his men, and killed 200 men of the Philistines. Then David brought the foreskins, and they gave them in full to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal his daughter for a wife. When Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal his daughter loved him, Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became the enemy of David continually. Then the commanders of the Philistines went out to make war, and when they went out, David was more successful than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was highly honored. Chapter 19, Saul tries to kill David. And Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted very much in David. Jonathan told David, saying, My father Saul seeks to kill you. Therefore be on guard in the morning. Stay in a secret place and hide yourself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are. Then I will speak about you to my father, and what I observe I will report to you. Jonathan spoke positively of David to Saul his father, and said to him, Do not let the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his deeds have been very good toward you. For he took his life in his hand and struck down the Philistine, and the Lord made a great salvation for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Now why then would you sin against innocent blood, to kill David without cause? So Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan, and Saul vowed, As the Lord lives, he will not be killed. Jonathan called David, and Jonathan reported to him all these things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as previously. Then there was war again, and David went out and fought with the Philistines. He slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. Now an evil spirit from the Lord was upon Saul, as he was sitting in his house with his spear in hand. And David was playing the lyre. Then Saul sought to pin David to the wall with the spear, but he escaped from Saul's presence. He struck the spear into the wall, but David fled and escaped that night. Saul also sent messengers to the house of David to watch him and to slay him in the morning. But Michal, wife of David, told him, saying, If you do not save your life tonight, tomorrow you will be dead. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled to safety. Michal took an idol and laid it in the bed, and put a braided goat hair pillow for its head, and covered it with clothes. When Saul sent messengers to take David, he said, He is sick. Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may kill him. When the messengers came in, there was the idol on the bed with the goat hair pillow for his head. Saul said to Michal, Why have you betrayed me and sent away my enemy so that he escaped? And Michal said to Saul, He said to me, Let me go. Why should I kill you? Now David fled, and he escaped and came to Samuel at Ramah, and he reported to him all that Saul had done to him. And he said that Samuel went and stayed in Naioth. It was told that Saul, saying, David is at Naioth in Ramah. Then Saul sent messengers to take David, but when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel taking his stand over them, the Spirit of God came upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. Then it was reported to Saul, he sent other messengers, and they also prophesied. So Saul sent messengers again a third time, and they too prophesied. Then he also went to Ramah and came to the great well that is there in Seku, and he asked and said, Where are Samuel and David? And one said, They are at Naioth in Ramah. He went there to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God came upon him also. And he went on and he prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah, and he stripped off his clothes, and he also prophesied before Samuel. And he lay down naked all that day and all that night. Therefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets?
And that is 1 Samuel
18 and 19.
Bye, have a great day. Please subscribe. Hope you like this video. Please leave a like or a comment.